Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has said that the government is prepared to send Russian military forces to the border to defend itself from further deployment of American missile defense systems in Europe. The Medvedev government has made it clear since the US and NATO announced the proposed missile shield that Russia is to be involved in it, or they would be challenging it. Russia has been seeking assurances that such a system would not be used against them. However, the US and NATO have refused thus far to include Russia in its development or sign legal documentation promising that the weapons system will not be used against them. Medvedev has said that he plans on escalating action to deal with the growing threat if NATO is not willing to engage with Russia over the placement of weapons. He said this at a meeting with his and Prime Minister Putin's supporters on Thursday. Our response to European missile defense will be gradual. The first stage has already been completed. That was the launching of the radar system in Kaliningrad. We are only saying that if our partners fail to come to terms with us on certain parameters in the coming 10, 9, or 8 years, we will be compelled to make some steps. In my opinion, much of this hostility is over energy resources in Iran. The U.S. is currently seeking the overthrow of the regime in favor of one that will cooperate with U.S. interests and continue to trade in the U.S. dollar. Much of this has been done under the pretext of preventing nuclear proliferation in the region. However, no evidence of any nuclear weapons has been presented in the last 3 years since the accusations began. The plan for the missile shield to defend the U.S. and its allies from non-existent nuclear weapons from being fired from Iran. Currently, Russia and Iran have a great deal of energy trading taking place and have been long-standing allies. Russia is no doubt noticing the threat that the U.S. poses to its important partner, and it is interested in maintaining its ally. An overthrow of the Iranian government and the installation of a U.S. puppet regime would see those energy assets redirected towards America and not Russia. Last week, the Russian leader announced that Russia will deploy Iskander missiles in Kaliningrad region in order to combat the threat posed by NATO forces. This situation has the possibility to escalate into another Cold War if NATO doesn't agree to involve Russia in their defense plans. The last thing we need is to have two large nations pointing weapons at each other across the globe like we did in the Soviet era. Hopefully this situation can be resolved peacefully without any loss of life.